Hey everybody, and welcome to The Void, a show dedicated to filling the void between being an employee and becoming self-employed. Most people refer to starting your own company as taking the leap, as if they're blindly jumping off a cliff and into the unknown. This show is here to help you understand that it does not have to be that way. As always, if you like what you're hearing on the show, please do us a favor and help share The Void with someone who might also be wanting to start their own company. We saw an opportunity to help others understand that self-employment is well within your reach, and just as our businesses have grown organically and by word of mouth, we want this show to grow the same way. So for that to happen, it takes two things. One is we have to keep giving you guys some really great info, and the other is you listeners have to do us a favor and share our show with those that need it. So, if you see somebody asking questions about starting their own service-based company, please do us a favor and drop a link to the show. I'm your host, Mitch Smedley, and with me as always is David Hilton.
Mitch.
David.
Tried to catch me with my mic out. I thought you were going to have like a whole long spiel about, I don't know what.
Who knows what?
I don't know what you're going to talk about to start the show half the time.
Well, we change it up. We keep it exciting.
It sounds so like, oh, they're playing that stuff. No, we don't know what we're doing.
No, we're pretty off the cuff.
We're going to start.
10 minutes ago, we didn't know what we were going to talk about. So.
That's right. No, I'm good. Thanks for asking.
Oh, yeah. How are you?
I'm great. Were you in a poop ditch today?
No, it's like amazing, right? Maybe that's why I feel like a little out of sorts. I wasn't in a shit-filled ditch
You
today.
haven't got the normal amount of poop on your skin before you came to the show?
Yeah, I just a little out of my element, a little clean. I didn't even get dirty today. So, yeah.
Bummer.
Yeah.
I was sweating my ass off. I'm
Feels
exhausted.
a little weird.
I got some sun, got my hair cut.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
When
Fucking
you're
burnt my forehead.
When your schedule relies on people calling you, some days your schedule is overloaded, and other days your schedule's like crickets.
You're like, what the fuck's going on today?
Yeah, today was kind of one of those cricket days, and
it was take advantage of those days.
Oh, it was nice. Like we all kind of hung out in the shop for a little while. One of the guys' birthdays was recently, so we all went out to lunch together.
Oh shit!
Yeah, finally got a sink in my shop now, like a shop sink. So now instead of sweeping the shop floor, I can mop the shop floor.
I thought they had bathrooms in them.
They got bathrooms, but you can't really like.
Oh, you don't want to be putting the mop like in the
well,
vanity
it's kind of hard to get the mop.
I mean, it's not, but I get it.
Yeah. So yeah, now we can mop the shop floor, and I can only imagine for
how much
our
your
listeners
wife's gonna bitch about it. God, complain about fucking everything.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Oh, it's not like he's asking you to come to the shop and sweep the floor. I mean, technically, you were doing her a favor, and she didn't notice.
Right. I mean, come on.
I know. I don't get it.
Yeah,
I don't get it, man.
That was pretty funny.
She's a freaking riot. She's a train wreck, but she's a riot.
Yeah. Yeah, so now we'll get to mop the shop instead.
Yeah.
So
okay, so mopping it up. Nothing going on in Mitch's world. All right. Sounds good.
Well, tomorrow's back to being full-blown hard and heavy. It's just
Why'd you have a bunch of calls at the end of the day?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, just, schedule was light, and then this afternoon things opened up, and so.
Well, know, if you ever need help, don't call me.
I know.
Okay.
I know I can rely on you to not be there if I need help in a shit-filled ditch.
I'll help him. He don't want to pay that money.
Yeah.
That's expensive money.
Yep. So if you're new to the show, we've got several different types of shows. We've got some core episode shows, and that's where we go over 6 foundational steps that you'll want to achieve. They're actually areas of adversity that you'll need to overcome in order to start your own business. And those 6 steps can be found in episodes 1 through 9. Those are our core episodes. So if you're new to the show, find time to go back and watch episodes 1 through 9 or listen or whatever to episodes 1 through 9 and then jump right back in where you are. This is not necessarily one of those podcasts where you have to listen all the way through.
We would appreciate it if you did.
We would appreciate it if you do. However, you can kind of jump back in wherever.
That's a lot of catch up.
Yeah. So the shows are pretty good. There's nobody that's going to harp on you if you do. So another type of show that we do is we do some guest episodes where we bring on some guests and we talk about different things like how they started their business and areas of adversity that they overcame and mistakes that they made and successes that they had and everything else. And so Those are guest episode shows. We have some general business shows where we talk about general business stuff. That's what today's show is. And then we also have Q&A shows where you can email in questions to askmitch@mitchsmedley.com, and we will answer those questions. And if their questions are good enough, we will even make a show about them. So let me spell that out for you. It's ASKMITCH at MITCHSMEDLEY.com. So if you have questions, you can send those in, and we will get them and answer them and so on. And then we also have another style of show called Beyond the Void. And the Beyond the Void show is we let the business stuff take a little bit of a backseat, and we talk about a little bit more of the social topics that are going on. Sometimes it's political, sometimes it's social media stuff. It just kind of depends. It's a little bit more relaxed environment in that show. So today's show is a business related show, and the topic of today is diluted motivation.
What do you mean by diluted motivation
I'm glad you asked.
or business perspective?
So, diluted motivation has to do with anybody who is on social media. There is no shortage of inspirational quotes out there that you are being bombarded with every day.
There's a lot of them on there.
Every single day,
Yeah.
right?
87 quotes by Thomas Jefferson
Right.
or George Washington or Elon Musk or Bill Gates or stupid ass Oprah Winfrey, or they're everywhere.
They're everywhere, right? And
They're everywhere.
And this isn't so much about the people that share those quotes. They think they're doing some good. It spoke to them, and so they're sharing that message and so on. This has more to do with your mindset as a person who is trying to get things in order to start your business, or maybe you're new in business and you're trying to maintain that aggressive mindset. It is very easy to get distracted by all of these ADD style inspirational quotes.
Yeah, and what we're getting at here is you are trying to completely change the way you think about things in the process to start your own company. We go through it in episodes 1 through 9. If you haven't listened to them, go through 1 through 9, then come back to this one.
Right.
But we talk about you have to change the people you hang out with. You have to change the way you think about money. You have to change the way you think about your personal relationships. You have to change everything. Now, not everyone does. Some people are just kind of born into that role, and
Right.
they have that train of thought automatically. But in the day and age that we're in now, it's not. You're not raised that way in high school and college, or if you go from high school to a trade, you're brought up in the worker's mentality, where you're trying to change your mind and your actions to change the path that you're on.
Right.
And it's a really hard thing to do. And what all this little bit of, distraction over here with motivation, distraction over here with your family, distraction over here with money, every little thing is a pull in a different direction, and that can distract your focus from what you really need it to be on.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. A lot of those motivational things that you see, again, they come from a place of good, right? They're the person who's sharing it's trying to help you.
No, they're like, this is great. I'm gonna share this. I saw this. I'm gonna put it on here.
Right.
And then you see 75 of your friends that share the exact same stupid ass phrase. You're like,
Right.
you guys are killing me.
Right. And so a lot of it, even though it comes from a place of good, it can easily distract you from the standpoint of you have a direction in mind. You have a guidance, like you have a compass that's guiding you for where you want to go, an internal guidance direction, right? Then you start scrolling on social media and you see some random inspirational quote that now you feel like you need to incorporate into your business plan. Or maybe you need to completely change your business plan to follow the guidance of that inspirational quote, right? Those are all distracting you from what you're actually trying to do, what you're actually trying to achieve. Your vision is the sole guiding principle for your company. And it is I see a lot of people, they kind of lily pad from inspirational quote to inspirational quote to inspirational quote, and they'll kind of run in a certain direction of chasing an inspirational quote that spoke to them last week, and then they kind of forget about that one this week and they jump onto another one that really spoke to them this week, and then they kind of forget about this one this week, and next week they're going to be on to another one, and they're constantly chasing the next very short term moment of inspiration. Well, that gets tiring very, very quickly, and it creates a pattern of momentary feel good that does not produce any kind of long term success, any kind of long term satisfaction, or anything, right? So let the business that you're shaping guide you as to where you want to be.
Yeah, and don't let those things. So, I think what Mitch is kind of saying there is, don't let all of those little things, like if you're going from this quote to this quote, and you see so many. Don't let those change the perspective you have for the track that you're on.
Right.
You're moving forward this way. Don't let one little stupid saying pull you this way.
Right.
And then don't let another saying pull you the other way. It's just distracting your focus on what you're supposed to be on.
Yeah.
And I know people that this is not a big thing. I mean, let's be honest. Like, I see some and I just, I let them go and I go this, but I do know people that literally they're like, they share everything they see as a quote. I mean, literally, like there won't be anything about their lives. In one day, there'll be 10 different things, and all they are quotes about, whatever, and this and that, and blah, blah, blah. And you can tell that they are, I don't know if people are using those as a crutch for their own lives, or if they're using it as they want to feel like they're empowered over the people that they're sharing it with. I can't tell exactly what's going on, but you can tell that social media influence in their life is greater than it should be.
Yeah.
And they're letting it dictate how they think, what they do, and all that kind of stuff. And we're just saying here, don't let that stuff derail you
Right.
from your goals.
Right.
I mean, it's so stupid to say that, oh, you're telling me one little, that it only takes one little thing sometimes,
Yeah.
To trip you up from where you're going.
Yeah. And so, like, I knew that my mental state, my level of passion, and my level of excitement, it used to be easily influenced by social media. And when hot social topics would fire up on social media, I would allow those topics and social media to consume a lot more bandwidth in my brain than it should. And so then you're then you start getting into discussions or arguments or debates or whatever with people online about all of those social topics, right? Well, for the same reason that can happen, and that's all kind of negative, right? The same reason that can happen is the same reason that you can also develop a whole lot of false hopes and be given false direction by chasing these infographics that have inspirational quotes on them. You might be building and shaping a business model, and you are very, very excited about it right now. And then you hear some inspirational quote that says something about, no matter what you do in life, make sure you do something you love because life is short. And now all of a sudden you're going, well, I was building a business model off haircutting, but do I like haircutting or do I not? I mean, I really like tattoos. Maybe I need to give up this whole thing and go train to be a tattoo artist. And that's kind of the example that we're setting here with this is people, they're afraid to commit to something because they're constantly allowing a lot of this social media inspiration to pull them in every direction other than the direction they need to be marching.
Yeah, and if you jump in too far, just like Mitch was saying, then you're getting in arguments and you're doing this and you're doing that. If you have started your company and you start getting involved in like these little bitty arguments, it changes the way people think about you also.
Yeah.
and it changes the way they may view your company.
Yeah.
So by you being so involved in stuff that doesn't matter,
Right.
you could lose a customer here.
Yeah.
You could lose a customer there. And what do we talk about all the time? When you lose 1, 2, 3 customers, that potentially could have been 6, 9, 12 customers.
Right.
So don't let that stuff consume, your thought process
Right.
in what's going on. And don't, other business, I've seen this too on there. Other businesses will post stuff that's inspirational.
Yep.
And it's not and I don't mean like, so like Wagon Wednesdays, Mitch posts, stuff about dogs. I'm a dog person. I don't mean like that. I mean, they'll say, oh, we did this and this and this and blah, blah, blah. And then they'll have a quote on there that says, that aligns with that. I'm Thomas Jefferson, blah, 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 this and that and blah, blah, blah. Don't let what other businesses are doing influence what you're doing. I mean, I'm not saying don't take the good things they're doing and not copy them or anything like that, but don't let it sway the path that you're on.
Right.
Don't let, oh man, they're doing all these great things, and look, they're posting this, and they're doing this, and I'm not doing that. Stay the course. They may have been in business for 10 years. They may have been in business for 15 years.
Right.
Don't let them make you feel bad about where you're at with your company. You could be doing really great things.
Right.
Right.
Don't
let the power of social media sway what you're actually doing.
Right. So, like when I'm trying to think. So I made the commitment to start our company in January of 2020. And it was very soon after that, maybe 2 weeks after that, I took a break from social media, deleted Facebook. I don't do much on Instagram at all. I think I've sent out like 3 tweets in my entire life. But
I don't even have a Twitter.
Right. I deleted all the apps from my phone and took a break for like 2 months, maybe. And the entire time I was I was spending all of the time focusing on the things that needed to happen in order for our business to get off the ground. I was trying to remove the distractions from social media. Part of it was the constant changing direction of all of those different inspirational quotes that you're bombarded with every day. The other part of it was, this was January of 2020. There was an election. I mean, that was an election year, and so there was plenty of stuff going on there. Another part of it was, this was like, so January of 2020, we knew what COVID was, but we didn't know what it was going to become. And COVID had nothing to do with me turning off my social media. However, during the time that I had it all turned off was when they closed all the schools and our kids went on spring break and never went back.
Never went
that.
back, yeah.
So turning off social media was actually one of the most important parts, what I feel was one of the most important parts of our success, being able to put a business together in 6 months and then open our doors on August 1st and be able to ready to rock and roll. The thing that made me do it was you could look on your phone and you can have your phone tell you how many hours a day you spend on social media. And I was spending a lot of hours on social media, like a lot of hours. And I thought, man, if I could change that energy from social media to brainstorming business plans, brainstorming how I'm going to lay my plumbing truck out, brainstorming how I'm going to get customers as a new company. Like, what am I going to do to guarantee my schedule stays full? Brainstorming how I'm going to organize the business finances and all of those things. And I basically exchanged all of the hours a day that I was spending on social media for all those hours now got exchanged for hours of business preparation. And when I finally logged back onto social media, I didn't miss anything. Like, the pandemic ramped up into full force and I missed nothing.
Yeah.
And I had achieved and gotten a ton of stuff done in the creation of the business. I had all of our all of our parts organized on a spreadsheet. I had all of our repair tasks organized on a spreadsheet. Um, there was some other things that I was doing that I was able to get 100% done simply by turning off social media, and it was amazing. And so now that I've had about 2 years to reflect on that, I'm realizing that the most important pieces of social media that were the distraction were those two things. One of it was political divisiveness that was happening because it was the election year, and then the other of it was a lot of um, those inspirational type quotes that can pull you in a direction away from the direction that you want to go. And you don't realize it. Like it comes in, it's sneaky. It comes in, and you think, oh well, that's good. That's a cool quote. Oh well, that's good. Oh, that's a cool quote. And by the time you've read 10 or 15 or 20 in your scrolling session, now you're kind of like, well, what do I really want to do with my life? And you just got pulled in 15 different directions by 15 different inspirational quotes, and it didn't really get you anywhere. So they're impactful for a moment, but in the grand scheme of things, they're not really helping you.
No,
So,
it, it's a false net of security.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's not really security.
I
It's
shouldn't
it's like
say
a.
security.
I know what you're trying to say. It's hard to put in words, and we're having a hard time putting
Yeah,
into
so
words on this show.
I've been, if you're not watching on YouTube, I've been scrolling through my phone for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
While I've been just talking. I do it all the time. But I just, I got distracted. Like I'm just going through looking. ED treatment lasts 9 to 12 times longer. Like what? I completely lost track of what we were doing. I'm like, oh,
Right.
okay. And then I just keep going through. And then I see a couple of cars, and I just, I see a couple boats for sale. I've been shopping for a boat,
Right.
But that's the whole point. Literally, I got distracted just looking for some quotes.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'll read a couple online or
Yeah.
on the air. Nope. I got distracted, clicked on 2 different boats, 1 car.
Right.
I may or may not have clicked on the ED treatment. I don't, there's just a lot of stuff going on, and we talk about it on the show all the time. It's ridiculous how much time we waste.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's kind of one of the side points of this show. We waste a lot of time not focusing on what we should be focused on.
Right.
We allow distractions to creep in our lives, whether it be distractions from our family, distractions from our goals in business, distractions from our business. Say you're not in business and and you're supposed to be focused on a job at work, and you're mad because you can't get a promotion or you can't do this. Well, guess what? Every time you're on your phone and your boss looks over, he's pissed.
Right.
Because you're just jackassing around.
Right.
And say you're not doing it a lot. Say you're just doing it once in a while. Once in a while, when you're on the clock, it ain't cool.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we just allow all of these distractions to get in and manipulate our mind and, the direction our lives are going. And we should be focused on what is truly important.
Yeah.
And the stupid quotes on Facebook and the stupid false narratives of what other businesses are trying to push on Facebook that create self-doubt and distract you. All that stuff is wayside.
Yeah.
It's not important.
Right.
There are other things that are more important that you should be focused on all the time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, this wasn't really the direction of the show, but it goes as far as like, let's say you're aware your marriage or your relationship is on the rocks, but you would rather pick up a video game controller, throw on your headphones, and go online playing video games than put in the work it takes to salvage your relationship. Like we choose distraction a lot. We choose to get distracted. TikTok is a prime example of this. With the incredibly short nature of videos. And like this started with YouTube. YouTube was an endless supply of videos, but they were all fairly longer, right?
Yeah.
Well, then TikTok comes in and pushes the ADD narrative even farther and plays to everybody out there has an ADD to a certain level, right?
Yeah.
Some have it much worse than others. Some are victimized by ADD a lot worse than others.
And some people can, especially very smart, successful people, can usually do one of two things: super focus it and
Yep.
become extremely successful, or can at least grab a hold of themselves consciously and say, "Hup, what are you doing, dude?
Yep.
We're supposed to be over here."
Yep.
And then redirect themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, TikTok plays to that short attention span, attention deficit, like really, really well. 30-second videos, a
Yeah.
whole lot going on. You've got audio, you've got video, you've got visual, you've got words, you've got, like, you can see how many times the video's been viewed and how many hearts it's got and how many comments it's got and how many shares it's got. And like, you can see all of that in 3 seconds. And so it cultures your brain into receiving satisfaction in 3 seconds. And if not, swipe up.
Yeah.
And receive satisfaction in 3 seconds. And if not, swipe up. And it's changing the way your brain is wired, and it's ruining your ability to exercise patience in order to receive satisfaction.
Yeah. And let's be honest, patience is focus.
Patience is success in business.
Yeah.
You will never be successful in business if you can't be patient. You have to have time to watch your vision come to life. It's cliche, and here we are talking about inspirational quotes, and I'm going to name one, but in this, I don't even know if this is a quote. It's more of an analogy. Dave's going to crack a beer. Got it.
Man, it's been hot the last couple of days.
It has. Patience in business is like planting a seed. And let's say you went out to the garden. Dave, you garden.
I love gardening, man.
Right?
Love it.
What's the last thing you planted?
In the garden or in the yard?
It's like not a starter, like seed.
Oh, the tomato plants and
Okay.
peppers for this year. I started them in February.
Started
Always
them in
do. I
February.
got grow lights in the barn.
Okay.
Tomatoes and peppers
hold
only.
Hold on. You got grow lights in the what else do you got in the barn?
That's it.
All right.
That's it.
So
That's it.
you plant tomatoes, and I'm not playing a character here.
Sorry.
I am ignorant
Give
when
me
it
whatever
comes
you
to
got. What do you got?
you plant tomatoes from a seed.
Yes.
Okay.
I get them from burpee.com. They send them right to my house.
All right. So you plant tomatoes in dirt.
Yes.
You water that.
Yes.
What would happen if you went out tomorrow and pulled back the dirt and expected to see activity?
What do you mean activity?
Like
Oh, like if I planted it
if you
and the
planted
next
it
day went
yesterday
out,
and you
nothing
came
would
out
happen.
today.
Nothing.
Imagine if you allowed
7 to 10 days.
Imagine if you allowed that one day of nothing to destroy your dreams.
Oh, like I got all mad. Like
Right.
Nothing had happened.
Well, I guess this isn't going to work.
And threw 'em
Trash
out.
everything.
Yeah.
Throw the grow lights away.
ADD 101.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what, and it may sound extreme, but that's literally what a lot of the social medias are culturing us to do, is they're culturing us to receive instant satisfaction.
It's called instant gratification syndrome.
And it also waters
I think I might have just
down.
made that up. I don't know.
You can call that what you
You
want.
know what? If any of you use that and it's not out there, that's mine. You owe me. I'm copywriting it right
Are you a
now.
victim of IGS? Consult your doctor about
I
instant
have some
gratification
copyrights
syndrome.
on some music. Maybe I can copyright that. Too.
There you go.
There we go.
So it does two things. One is it cultures you to receive that instant pleasure, and if you're not instantly pleasured, then move on. Right? Well, how hard is it going to be to start a business if you can't get around the idea that pleasure does not come instantly in business?
Okay,
right?
you're telling me if I start a business and in 1 week I'm not worth $2 million, why would
Right. Right.
it doesn't happen that way?
The other thing that it does is it creates the illusion that whoever you're watching on social media, just because they came across your page so instantly, it creates the illusion that they became successful instantly or somewhat overnight. And that most assuredly didn't happen.
No.
Joe Rogan is like the world's most followed podcaster, has like the most listeners in the world, right?
Love me some Joe.
Right? He didn't have that many listeners 10 years ago.
No.
He didn't have that many listeners 5 years ago.
What was his first year?
I don't even know.
I don't either.
I mean, I guess what I'm getting at is he started with just a few followers.
Yeah, and
Right.
business is the same way.
Right. And so if you've just learned about Joe Rogan, you might feel like, oh, he's some overnight success. No, the dude's on like episode 1800 or something like
Yeah.
he's done
Yeah, it's a lot.
boatloads of episodes, and his episodes are like 3 hours long.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's dedicated
A ton of time.
lifetimes of work to just the one thing. And the one thing is not his main thing.
No, he was on Fantasy Factory. He was.
You mean Fear Factor?
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Fear Factor.
Yeah.
He was a UFC fighter, amateur fighter for a little while. He was a judge. He still does those.
Yeah,
he still judges.
He's
or
not judges,
commentates. He's
commentator. Commentator.
That's right.
Yep.
I mean,
But he's got other things too. He owns a couple of comedy like comedy clubs
Yeah,
and stuff like
yeah.
that. But I mean, just the podcast alone, the guy's got lifetimes of work into that podcast, and he's seeing the pinnacle of success with it. Don't get the illusion that that was like some overnight success, because it absolutely wasn't. And he's got some great stuff on his show too. I love his open and honest perspective on everything. But you can tell, like he'll talk about his activities on social media, and he talks about how he'll post and ghost. Like
he'll post something, won't be on there for 2 months.
He'll post something and then never come back to it, and then just let people like most people will post something and they're trying to see how many reactions they get. I do this. Like you gauge the success of a post based off of how many reactions it gets, or how many views your video gets, or how many comments it gets, or whatever. And I'm going to say that's probably what a majority of people do, right? Well, he doesn't. He'll literally make a post and then log out and not even log back in for 3 weeks. Like, it just is what it is.
That's what I do.
and you know, we're not in control of virality on the internet nearly as much as we think we are. And so try to allow the number of reactions in a social media post to gauge our thoughts on like effectiveness or success, or how well it was accepted amongst the general public, is pretty far out there, because there is a whole lot of other factors that go into who's seeing that post to really weigh in on that.
And we talk about that on, man, it's one of the Beyond the Void episodes. We get into it pretty hard about how they're changing algorithms and you know, what to look for and all that. So go back and listen to the Beyond the Void episodes, and I mean, you could be enlightened.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, and there is a movie. I may even have to look it up. There's a movie out there that talks about, it basically shows like a control room panel of people that are in charge of who is seeing what's on their, like what you see on your social media feed. And they talk about like, oh, let's drop this ad in front of them right now. And oh, they just received this news, so now they're going to be in this mindset. So let's place this post next because their mind is ripe to react to this one next.
Ugh.
And it is a very real, right? Like The Social Dilemma. That is the name of the movie. It's on Netflix. It's really, really cool. Like if you haven't seen it, you should watch it, because it will show you everything that you need to know about social media in that small show. And keep in mind that Social Dilemma show is a couple years old. So you're like already, if you're
It's
just now
twice as bad,
right, or 10 times as bad, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're having having a hard time wrapping your mind around it, just wait. Just to give you a reference, 10 years ago, okay, this was before social media was insane. It's insane now. 10 years ago, it was still fairly mild. 10 years ago, we were playing jokes on people in the office. We would send them an email, and in the bottom of the email, we all use Gmail, right? And we knew Google would change their ads to you based off of, like, we knew Google was watching what you were emailing. And if you were emailing about, if I was emailing about plumbing stuff, literally all of my Google ads would show up as, oh, you like Moen faucets? Well,
Yeah.
here's our selection of Moen faucets,
Yeah.
you know? So we would play jokes on people in the office, and we would email them something, and then in the bottom, like 2 or 3 lines, we would change the font color to white, and we would put like massive dildo in the email. And they would, unless they highlighted all of the words, they would never know that was in there. But then all of a sudden, here their Google ads come out, and it's like, wait a minute, what's this? You know, we knew that I mean, it's kind of funny. We knew that 10 years ago.
Yeah. What are they doing now?
Oh my gosh.
And that was instantaneous.
Yeah.
It was literally instantaneous.
Yeah.
Just boom, there it is.
Right. So, the main purpose of this show is to not get distracted by the diluted motivations that are out there, right? Well, your social media knows exactly where you're at mentally. They know, like, your social media knows you listen to The Void. Your social media knows that The Void is a show that's to help you cross the void from employee to self-employed.
You're probably getting business loan applications.
Your
sent to you
social
right
media knows exactly what you're going through in your brain and that you're wanting to start a small business.
now. Yeah.
And so, guess what?
Fleet vehicles. Just
You're going to start.
ads
Yeah,
right and left.
You're probably seeing a lot of that stuff already. And on top of that, the powers that be on your social media are currently onslaughting you with a whole bunch of inspirational post this, motivational post that, thought-provoking post this and that. And again, on the surface, you think it's helping you, but it's actually distracting you because it's just confusing you into the direction that you really want to focus on.
Yeah, and that's the whole point of this show is you have to be able to consciously think, I have to direct my focus in this area if I want to obtain the goals that I've set out to obtain.
Yeah.
I have to be able to get laser focused.
Yep.
And I have to be able to accomplish the small tasks I've set in front of me to get to the big goal, which is owning my own business.
Yep.
And getting out of the drudgery of, the day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Like we talk about all the time.
Yep. So, I mean, if you are dead serious about starting your own company, it takes massive amounts of work, especially like our business as a plumbing business. We have over 2,000 pieces of material on our trucks. To think that you're just going to have 2,000 pieces of material show up on your truck and not know how it got there and not know what it is and what it costs and how much of them you need and where they're going to be placed and on what shelf and how many of them you need and how you're going to replenish them, like that shit takes work. It takes a whole lot of work. And so scrolling on social media is not helping you get any closer to putting some massive amounts of organization to all of that. And so for me, the answer was literally turning off social media. The answer was literally turning off the biggest distraction in my life, and that was social media. I mean, it was work, it was build the business, and it was social media and my family.
Yeah.
Right? Well, I can't give up work, right? Because I kind of needed that. I wasn't going to give up on building a business. I wasn't going to give up on my family. So literally, the only other thing to give up was social media.
Yeah, and that's, if you don't think an hour a day is a lot, like, okay, so you hear it and you think, oh man, an hour a day, I'm not on there an hour a day. Well, 15 minutes at lunch, 10 minutes here, 5 minutes there. If you did give it up, say it was at night, say it was an hour a night you were on there, that's 7 hours a week. 7 hours a week is a ton of time.
Absolutely.
I've talked about it on this show. Monday night, go to work. Or Monday, go to work. Layla has soccer Monday night. Tuesday night, here at Mitch's, usually.
Yep.
Wednesday, work, Layla soccer. Thursday, work, Layla soccer. Friday, work. Hope to God I get some time when I get home if she doesn't have a game or something and we can have some family time there.
Right.
Saturday, usually work in the yard and do stuff because guess what? Those other 5 days, I was doing other things. 7 hours is a ton of time.
Yeah.
It is a ton of time.
Yeah.
I mean, it just...
And if you don't think 7 hours is a ton of time, go put in 7 hours straight on a Saturday for your boss and tell him you don't want to get paid for it.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, now you realize exactly how much time that is.
Yeah, and for those, this is going to sound so cliche and so stupid. When you're 28, 7 hours ain't shit.
Right.
When you're 30, 35, 40, and you've got more than one kid, 7 hours is a ton of time.
It is a giant amount of time.
It's business perspective.
Yep.
And if you're trying to get to that, I mean, let's be honest. If you're 28 and you're trying to get to that, you've got a little more work ahead of you in changing your mindset, let's be honest, than if you were older and, I've learned these things, I can jump right in.
Right.
But if you're 28, change your perspective now, start your business. Then when you get to 40, you've already learned it all. You got it.
Right.
You're on the right path.
Right. Yeah, and we've talked about that before too, like on our recent show that we did about oh shoot, my mind just went blank.
And that's it today's show.
No,
everybody,
the simplicity of high productivity.
Yeah.
And I've got some friends of mine that are even like significantly younger than me that have figured it out much faster than I did, much earlier in their lives than I did, right? And I've got some friends of mine that are my exact age that have figured it out, and they're operating on a whole different level than I am. And so this is what triggers that. This is what starts that. When you have the ability to identify massive areas of inefficiency in your life, then you have the discipline to remove those areas of inefficiency, then all of a sudden your life starts taking off in a whole different direction, and it's a good direction to be in. So we've brought this up under the heading of diluted motivation and how a lot of this motivational stuff can be distracting, because that's usually one of the excuses we use. We talk about, well, I need, it's not, I stay on Facebook because I can stay connected with my family or whatever. Well, guess what? You can reach out to all those people and say, hey, I'm going to check out a Facebook for a while. Maybe if you have pictures or something you want me to see, text them to me.
Yeah.
Call me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go back to the old ways of doing things.
And this show is, a little bit about perspective too, just like Mitch was saying. When you see, so Mitch knows younger guys that are operating at a higher level than him. He sees older guys that may be worth 5 times the money he's worth right now. Mm-hmm. Jealousy can creep in. Okay? Let's talk about just business perspective for, just a second. Don't let other people's success dissuade your motivation or your goals.
Right.
We all are at different levels at different times in our life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Right now, I might be worth more money than Mitch. I have no doubt that someday he's going to be worth more money than me.
Right.
I would never think less of Mitch if I was worth more than him. Or would I ever think, oh man, he's just, he's done this and he got lucky and this and now no, I would never think that.
Right.
Don't think that way about other people. Because to be honest, all that does is hurt you.
Yeah, if
your motivation.
If you're of that mindset where you're feeling jealous of somebody else's success or you're upset that somebody else is successful, you have a lot of growing up to do.
Yeah.
Because that right there should be an indicator that you have no clue how much it took for them to become successful.
Exactly.
And so fix that and the only person that's going to know that is you, and it starts with you having to admit that to yourself.
Yeah.
But if you're of that mindset where you're jealous of somebody else's success, and jealous in a bad way where you kind of resent them for it.
Yeah.
It's one thing to be jealous in an admirational way, right? I get to a point that all jealousy is bad. But I have some people that
it can be motivational too.
Right. I have some people that are more successful than I am, that I'm jealous of, but I'm not jealous. I'm positively jealous of it. I'm jealous in a way that inspires me to operate at their level, to do better, to be better, right?
Yeah.
That's a good kind of jealousy. That's a drive to succeed. That's not a malicious kind of jealousy, right?
Yeah.
And I would never say anything bad about them either, because that's the weird thing about success. Once you put in a little bit of work and see what it takes to see a little bit of success, you start to recognize how much work it takes to see a lot of success. And then you start looking at really successful people, and you now have a grasp on exactly how much work it took for them to be that successful.
Yeah, and there's something to be said in there too, is if you're on an upward trajectory and it's going to be a long time before you get here, or you may not get there, okay? But try to have peace and be happy where you are in your moment now. If you're working hard and you're doing the right things, you should be satisfied.
Yeah.
Okay? That doesn't mean be complacent.
No.
That doesn't mean give up, but don't let jealousy and fear of you're not going to make it to X level rule your life.
Right.
I'm not going to be Bill Gates. Okay?
Right.
I'm not going to be Elon Musk. I'm not at their level.
Right.
Okay?
But you don't need to be be successful.
I'm not going to be George Ward in our area. He's a very successful older. I mean, he has run half of where. I'm not going to be there.
Right.
Okay? That doesn't mean I can't strive to be there.
Right.
You know what I mean? That doesn't mean I'm less of a. That doesn't mean I'm not as smart. That doesn't mean I don't work as hard. What drives me crazy is when I see people either give up because they don't think they're going to get there, or say, oh, they were lucky because they got this, or they got a settlement and they got this. Yeah, they did. You know what? That's not an excuse for you to not work hard.
That's like the people that try to downplay Trump's success because his dad gave him $1 million to start out.
Yeah, he still ran with it.
Yeah, well, he turned $1 million into billions of dollars. That would be like somebody giving you $1,000 and you turning it into 100 million.
Yeah.
And so the moment, if there's ever a moment where you're trying to downplay Trump's success because he was handed $1 million to begin with,
that he paid back, I think. Right.
The moment that you're sure that you could turn 1,000 into 100 million, that is the only moment where you could downplay Trump's success.
Yeah.
Other than that, you need to look inward a little bit first before you start looking outward at other people, because what he did with that, I mean, it was just on a different level. He started with $1 million, right? So he started at a much higher level.
Yeah, and it's easier to start, the more money you have, obviously.
I mean, it can be, but he was tackling much bigger problems than let's say you were handed $1,000. You can only handle $1,000 problems.
Yeah.
What would you rather have, $1,000 problem or $1 million problem?
Let's be honest. If someone gave me $1 million, I would probably invest it and then live off that money, because I want to live a more simple, family-oriented type of life, and I don't have the drive to want to be like that.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have done it either.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It drives me crazy when people are like, oh, well, this happened and this happened, and, these people got this money and they got this settlement and they did this with it. And they did, you know what? Don't use it. I just said this. I'm going to say it again. Don't use it as a crutch, to downplay your own success. If you want to be successful and quit bitching about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Take what you have.
Yeah.
And do something good with it.
Yeah.
We've said this 100 times too. This is fucking America. You can be great in America.
You can do whatever you want.
And be great. I shouldn't say be great. You can be shitty at it and still make a ton of money. It's America.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? There's tons and tons of money out there.
Right.
A little less at the present time that we're in now, thanks, Joe. But, I mean...
Doesn't go as far.
Don't use those things as a crutch in your life.
Yeah. Well, guys,
that's all I got.
I think that's the best way to wrap up the show. So, if this guy or if this topic, if this topic made you think, it made you consider things in a different way. If this topic made you, if it lit a fire under your ass to do better, for one, let us know about it. Feel free to shoot us. I mean, heck, our Q&A email, you don't even have to shoot us questions. You can literally shoot us an email. We've got people that do this. They'll shoot us an email and just say, hey, letting you know I'm listening and I love your
show,
stuff.
Guys, thanks.
Yeah. I'll get people that message me on Facebook that say the same thing. We'll get people that comment on some of our Facebook stuff saying the same stuff. So, um, if this show lit a fire under your ass to do better and to challenge your perspective on social media a little bit, let us know about it and share the show. Send it to a friend of yours that you also might think would get value from it. Or if you are on any social media groups out there for anything, drop a link to the show or share a link to the show in one of those comments, or tag at podcast the void when somebody is questioning how to start a business or anything else. So we don't have all the answers, but we've got a really good grasp on what it takes to get your mind in the right direction. So again, that kind of wraps up this week, guys. So until next week, we will see you later.
Love you guys.
See ya.